guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and of course today talking about Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which came out in 1994, getting 6.4 on IMDb. But before I get to this movie, though, I wanted to talk about a new announcement about my upload schedule. Pretty much everything's going to be the same except for I'm changing one theme. It's only going to be a new theme. As you guys know, I uploaded a gameplay video on WWE 2K16. Just to see how popular it would get, just to see if you guys wanted to get more, see more gameplays. And that video got 20 views in like one day, and that was actually more views than most of my videos. Well, some of my videos have been up for months. So I figured that since it got 20 views, I would add gameplay to my schedule. I'll still be doing movie reviews. That'll never change in this channel. I will always be doing movie reviews. But I'm also going to be doing some gameplay videos on Friday. Monday is still going to be my reviewing day. I'll do vlogs and updates, DVD updates, stuff like that, movie reviews, as well as Wednesday, so that's still the same. And the weekend is sort of going to be random for me. You know, I do movie reviews on the weekends sometimes if I'm not busy, and I'll do vlogs and updates on the weekends. So the weekends are very random for me. And of course, I wanted to add Friday as being my gameplay day, where I'll sit down and play some games throughout the day. Mostly going to be playing some WWE games, and I'm going to work my way onto stuff like The Witcher 3 and Dying Light, and also play some Mortal Kombat X, which might be the first game I play after I play a little bit of WWE 2K16. So uploads. There's a new thing. There's a new thing going on with the uploads. I'm going to be doing games on Friday, gameplay on Friday. So hopefully you guys enjoy those videos. Be doing every Friday, and Monday and Wednesday are still the same upload days. And I will be doing gameplays on Friday, and the weekends are sort of random for me. So yeah, you know, just wanted to say that gameplay is going to be now part of the channel. I've been wanting to do gameplay on this channel for a long time now. Since I joined, actually, I was wanting to do movie reviews and gameplay, but I didn't have the equipment to do gameplay videos. So luckily now I'm able to do some gameplay videos, and yeah, so that's part of the new schedule. Mondays, Wednesdays, reviews and updates, stuff like that. Friday is gameplay day, and of course the weekend is sort of random for me. So yeah. With that out of the way, talking about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Now, those of you that were subscribed in the past know that in the past I gave this movie a lot of crap. Is it the most perfect sequel? I can't really say it's one of my favorites, because I still have problems with the movie, but I can honestly say it's a pretty good sequel. It's not even a sequel. It's really much sort of a standalone kind of movie, because Freddy's Dead was the last Freddy movie with the Freddy that we know as Freddy in it. Until Freddy vs. Jason, when of course that movie came out, we got Freddy Krueger that we knew Freddy Krueger back out again. But Freddy's Dead was the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and this movie sort of stands by itself in the franchise. Of course, Wes Craven came out to direct the movie, did a great job. And these are the good things I'll say about the movie. The idea is genius. The idea is classic. The idea alone of the movie is just, like I said, pure genius. Second, pretty good makeup effects. Don't mind the makeup effects in the movie. Pretty decent. Pretty decent dream sequences. And likable characters. Great ideas. I mean, just it has a lot of ideas going for it. And also has likable characters to it, and just also, I just really thought the movie was pretty decent altogether. Also, the score I didn't mind. Of course, I didn't really like that song to end the movie. That dinna 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 dinna. I didn't really like that song. It didn't. I don't know. It's something about that song that was. I just didn't like it that much. That end song before the end credits roll up, or pretty much during the end credits. That dinna, 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 that was the only song I really didn't like. I just didn't like the way that I don't know. Just didn't like it, you know. It was just the way it sounded. I just didn't think it sounded that good. But besides that, you got a great score. So, good music, decent. decent effects. Not really much of a body count movie, but you know the kills are pretty decent when they're there. Pretty suspenseful at times, can get creepy at times, and it's just the problem with the movie is that my big problem with this movie is Freddy, or I know it's like, well, this isn't Freddy Krueger, this is like a demonic force, and it's basically using Freddy Krueger as sort of a shell, and it's sort of, you know, just using Freddy Krueger to have a form. I get that, but Freddy Krueger is in the movie, but it's not, like, this is not Freddy Krueger. It looks like Freddy Krueger, and it basically this evil that took the shape of Freddy Krueger. And I get that, and that's why it looks different and acts different, much darker. And the darker aspect, I didn't mind. The idea of making this a darker Freddy Krueger, I didn't mind that idea. But it was just the fact that he's got a freaking trench coat on, and bright green, and red sweater, and freaking boots on, and a freaking glove that, in my opinion, doesn't look that good. That is not the glove in the movie. That glove is in, like, one scene, which is actually a pretty good scene. But that's sort of the glove that Freddy Krueger wears in the movie. That's sort of what he looks like right there. Sort of looks a little bit different, and I don't mind the makeup effects on Freddy Krueger. It actually looks like it's more realistic, like more realistic burns and stuff like that. It's just, you know, and also when it came to lines of dialogue by Robert Englund, there was maybe a few I didn't mind. I didn't mind the one where he goes, "Miss me?" And he comes out of the close like, "Vroom, miss me." Tosses Heather Langenkamp across the room. I didn't mind that, you know, line of dialogue. But really, besides that, there really wasn't much to dialogue from Robert Englund in this movie. And, you know, I get it. I get it. People are going to be like, well, it's not Freddy Krueger, man. It's something different. It's something more evil. I get that. But when you have Freddy Krueger in there, even though it's not really Freddy Krueger, and it looks like Freddy Krueger, and it takes the shape of Freddy Krueger, the lines, man, it was just like, that one line was pretty decent, but the rest of them I didn't care for. You know, the dialogue whenever he calls Heather Langenkamp on the phone, I didn't care for. That 1, 2, and then she hangs up, calls again, answers the phone again. Freddy's coming for you. I didn't care for that. It didn't sound right. And also the line where he's like, "Hey, ever play Skin the Cat?" I'm like, it's not really that good of lines of dialogue. In my opinion, it's just, I didn't like the lines of dialogue from Freddy Krueger in this movie. It was kind of, didn't really feel right. And I get it, and I'm going to keep repeating this because people are going to keep telling me, oh, but it's not Freddy Krueger. Okay, I get that, but it's still a form of Freddy Krueger. It's a form, so it should try to act like him, and it does for the most part, except for when he delivers lines. You know, because the way he moves, and the way that, it is Freddy Krueger. Like, it does form like a Freddy Krueger, but the lines I didn't care for, and the look I didn't care for. So, that's a big problem for me, is that Freddy Krueger in the movie is really not that good. The way he looks, the way that he delivers the lines, the way the glove looks, the freaking thumb blade on it, I'm like, no, I don't like that look. I've always hated that look of Freddy Krueger. I can't stand that look of Freddy Krueger. And also the pace of the movie was kind of a problem for me. I know that not everybody has a problem with the pace of the movie because, you know, there are certain movies that come out that the pace doesn't really kill the movie. The pace didn't kill the movie, in my opinion. I'm not saying that at all. It was just, at times, there could have been a little bit more happening. But then again, it's not really a huge problem, but it's a problem. So the pace, you know, was kind of dragging a little bit. But, you know, once you got to the second act, I mean, that was when stuff started picking up. But the first act and a little bit of the third act, not even the third act was actually pretty good as well. Maybe I don't even know, man. Like, maybe the first act and the second act weren't that and like they were just having these interesting scenes in them, but then they started getting draggish and dragging and stuff like that. And then around the third act is when it really started to pick up, and I really started like, okay, stuff is happening now. And besides that, though, I mean, the movie is shot well. The idea is genius. Wes Craven did a great job directing. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. He did a good job writing this movie. And yeah, and the music was pretty decent for the most part, except for that end song I didn't really care for. It's just I can't really sit here and say it's one of my favorites in the series. Because in my opinion, it was just a pretty decent, pretty good movie. Not really a movie I'm a huge fan of, but I can say I think it's pretty good. And the idea is, like I say millions of times, is a genius idea about taking this evil presence in Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and when the series ended, the evil escaped and became this movie, New Nightmare, which the idea is just so good. Watching this movie, and yet I didn't care for the look of Freddy Krueger, and the pace kind of bothered me a little bit, but that idea alone made me really enjoy the movie, because that idea is just so creative, and Wes Craven, just that's a genius idea. Wes Craven did a good job of making that idea for the movie, made a great story, made a new, fresh story, made a new, fresh Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I know it really can't be considered a Nightmare on Elm Street movie because it takes place outside the movies, but, made for a good Nightmare on Elm Street-ish movie. And made it a pretty good movie. Because you'll have these moments in the movie where Heather Langenkamp is finding out that she is within a movie, and the script is being written as she goes along. And even at the end of the movie, she finds the script, and it has, stuff from the movie in it. And the idea, it just messes with your head at times, because it's like, wow, this whole movie is sort of, the movie is about how the movie... It's just hard to explain because the movie is like developing the movie as it goes through. So it's a really cool idea how Wes Craven put that in the movie. It was really creative. And the story is basically you got, Heather Langenkamp playing herself. You got Robert Englund playing himself. Of course, Heather Langenkamp is having these nightmares, and pretty much the whole cast is having these nightmares about this darker Freddy. And the nightmare sequences are actually pretty decent. I don't mind them. Not really some of the strongest ones in the series, though, in my opinion. Besides the end, the last, maybe, where she goes into the actual nightmare, and there's buildings, like pillars, and fire everywhere. I didn't mind that nightmare. Well, I don't even know if we consider it. I think it is a nightmare, but, I didn't mind that nightmare scene. But the rest of them pretty decent. I mean, you got one where, because Heather Langenkamp is having these nightmares, and then Freddy starts to, kill off some of the people one by one. Freddy Krueger kills off her, boyfriend, Chase, and pretty much when he's driving, he's falling asleep, and a claw comes from out of the seat and stabs him, and, like, rips down his chest. Pretty gruesome death scene, I'll give it that, pretty intense. And you've also got the death scene of her friend who babysits her son. And of course her son Dylan is pretty much having these nightmares and, basically slowly becoming possessed by this Freddy Krueger. Or not even that, I mean really just starting to, well, you could say, I don't know if you say possessed, but he starts acting like Freddy Krueger. And then she had a dream, like one dream where, her son Dylan has like knives on his hand, trying to kill her. And then there's one where creepy idea. I'll give it that creepy scene where the phone. She answers the phone, hello, and he goes. I can't remember what he said. I think he's like, I touched him, and then like the phone has like the tongue out of it again, and her son like spits up this. He basically starts puking everywhere. And then, pretty much, the phone starts having spit come out of the phone. Creepy idea. And I didn't mind the idea of sort of Dylan being sort of, you know, acting like Freddy Krueger and Freddy Krueger going after him in his dream and stuff like that. And, you know, pretty much Helen Camp has to figure out, you know, she finds out that Wes Craven's having these nightmares, Robert Englund's having these nightmares, and some really interesting ideas. And basically, the movie is about her trying to figure out how to stop this Freddy Krueger, how to figure out what this Freddy Krueger is. And Wes Craven even has a part in the movie where he acts. And he actually did a pretty good job. And I like the idea of having, you know, Bob Shaye, Wes Craven, Robert Englund in the movie as himself, Sutherland Kemp in the movie as herself. You even have a scene where they're in the cemetery and you see like some of the old cast members from the original movie. You have like Rod in the background. So that was cool. And you also got John Saxon come back to play himself as well. And towards the end of the movie, she starts to figure out that she's got to stop this evil Freddy. And she, you know, there's a lot of cool scenes like leading up to when she actually goes into the final dream. You know, the dream where Dylan is walking out in the street and there's a giant Freddy in the clouds and he comes down with his claws and lifts him up. And there's like an army of Freddy Kruegers. Didn't mind that idea. The shot, which was really cool, where it was in Dylan's bedroom and Freddy Krueger rises from the bed and cuts through it like the first movie and walks to the bedroom. Didn't mind that shot. Really good shot scene. That was a good shot. And I didn't mind the scene where it was pretty much like the bathtub in the original, only this time it's a bed, where claws come into the bed and goes like that but doesn't kill her. Didn't mind that scene. There's a lot of scenes I didn't mind. So that was some of the decent dream scenes. They're not crappy. They're actually pretty decent. The dream where she thinks it's Wade about to stab her son. It's actually Freddy Krueger. And pretty much towards the end of the movie, this movie starts to become the original Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, John Saxon's like, "Why do you keep calling me John?" And then it's like, "Stop calling me Nancy. I'm not Nancy." He's like, "Stop calling me John. Now Nancy, get some sleep." I didn't mind that scene. It was supposed to be suspenseful, but it was funny because she's like, "Why you call me John?" And pretty much Nancy finds that pretty much this movie has become the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And she goes in there, and then you have a good set design of this big open area, pretty much looks like hell. And, you know, while she's there, she's fighting Freddy Krueger, has a knife, even Dylan stabs him in the leg. Some good scenes where she's running, and of course a nod to the original with the, you know, steps that freaking fall through, and she's, you know, her feet are on this gooky stuff, this slime. And that was a cool scene. Of course, Fred knocks her out. He chases Dylan around, and pretty much have that scene where it was kind of creepy, where Freddy's like, "Gonna eat you up." Another line, I was like, I don't really care for that line. It was, "I'm gonna eat you up." And then, like, his face opens up in a freaking giant mouth, and he's getting ready to eat Dylan, and pretty much Helen Kemp comes over, stabs him, and saves her son. And then, of course, you have that scene where he goes, "Shh, hey," and then his, like, tongue comes out, wraps around her. And then, of course, Dylan takes his tongue and stabs it. Tongue rips through. And the movie also sort of has this, you know, fairy tale sort of feel to it, because they mentioned the book. Crap! How the freak did I just forget that book? I forgot the freaking name of it, but it mentions, dang it. I'm trying to remember the freaking name. The name is so simple. The name is just so easy to remember, but I can't remember right now. Dang it, man. I cannot believe I just wow. I cannot believe I forgot that story. But the movie has a fairy tale that, you know, that it, you know, sort of has sort of a similarity to, you know, where the trail of breadcrumbs and stuff like that, and the witch being pushed into the stove, and Freddy Krueger gets pushed inside this furnace and burned alive, and really good, well, a decent scene where the head practically formed into like the devil's head, but then it sort of has like a CGI look to it, and that's another problem with the movie. I forgot to mention was the CGI. The CGI wasn't really that good in the movie. It had some very shoddy CGI in the movie. But yeah, that's one of the only problems. That and the look of Freddy Krueger, and the lines delivered by Freddy Krueger, and the pace, and one song I didn't like. So there are problems with the movie. But pretty much Freddy gets burned Freddy gets burned in the furnace, and Helen Camp and Dylan get out of there. And when they get back to their house, they see a script on the ground. They read it, and it's pretty much this movie. And the end credits start rolling, and that's pretty much it. So is it one of my favorites? Not. I'm being honest. It's not really one of my favorites in the series. I did like it. It is a good movie. It is pretty decent, but it's not one of my favorites. The dream scenes are decent, but they're not as extravagant and stuff, and as they're imaginative. But 3 and 4 and 2 and 1, they just had these dream sequences that were just classic and memorable. And these ones are memorable too, but they're decent. They're not spectacular dream scenes like those movies have, but they're decent scenes. And I don't mind the practical effects. The cast was good. A genius idea. Directed very well by Wes Craven. It was a well-written movie. And yeah, so it's, in my opinion, Wes Craven's Nightmare. Pretty decent movie. Pretty good. So guys, thanks for watching my review on New Nightmare. I'll see you guys in my rant on the final film in the series I'll be reviewing. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake, which I was actually meaning to throw it like that, but then the freaking thing fell out and it still fell on the ground, so whatever. Talking about that a little bit later. Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. But yeah, thanks for watching my review, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye guys.